So yeah, I think we should discuss the sort of morality and our stance on morality, why we think the religious stance on morality is wrong, and the effect it has on the world. And, yeah. So, I think the first thing to talk about is what the morals of the Bible actually are. And I think the fact that it's not our society, its laws, its moral structure isn't actually based on the Bible. And if you actually read the Old Testament, you will know, there's horrendous things encouraged in there. Genocide. God sort of happily tells people to dash children to pieces and women, and it's, and Richard Dawkins makes that argument in The God Delusion that we don't get our morals from religion. So the argument that our morality comes from the Bible, or that our society's system of law was inspired by the Bible. It might have been inspired by Christian preachers, but they wouldn't have been preaching from the Old Testament, and even the New Testament says that we should follow the law of Moses, and which has laws against collecting sticks on a Sunday or Saturday, whenever the Sabbath actually is. We changed it, I think. So yeah, morality doesn't come from the Bible, and it's very apparent if you actually read it.
I mean, Richard Christopher Hitchens highlights the point that these morals, like the Ten Commandments, society would have been dependent on these commandments long before Moses. So for society to stick together and for civilizations to thrive, they would have required that these rules have been taken into consideration anyway. And it's quite clear that the Ten Commandments are based on what was considered moral at that time. So if the Ten Commandments had been written these days, it would probably been a bit more of it. There'd probably been a reference to something like Confucius saying, "Don't do to anyone what they do to you. You wouldn't want done to yourself." Or a bit more kind of practical ones that would apply across time. Whereas the ones, the Ten Commandments at that time stood. I think they tried to make them timeless, like do not kill as one, which is of course timeless, and things like do not covet anyone's possessions, including their wives. Is a funny one which probably wouldn't apply so much these days.
Yeah, I mean a few of the commandments, it's like, you shall have no other gods before me, you shall not make yourself a carved image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above.
Very jealous.
It's God just basically being jealous and not wanting anyone to follow another religion. There's quite a few of the commandments are just about that. And then there's the idea that, I think it's in the New Testament, I mean I don't know the exact verse, but Jesus says that if you lust after a woman in your heart, then you have committed adultery. So it's sort of, but most people, it's a very human thing to lust after women as part of our instinct.
It's how God created us, if He did create us. So He creates us sick, and then orders us to be well. So Hitchens said that as well. It's a contradiction in that we are designed by God to think these things and to be this way, and ordered on the penalty of death and eternal torture to not be that way.
And it's like, and God orders people to break the Ten Commandments anyway. It's like, as soon as Moses gets the Ten Commandments from God, thou shalt not kill, they go down and they've made a golden calf, which they're all bowing down and worshipping. So then God sort of says, kill everyone that's been involved with that. It's kind of instantly orders people to break the laws that He's commanded. And it happens again and again in the Bible, where it's just a sort of merciless slaughter of, including livestock as well. Just kill everyone in this entire city, even the women and children. So yeah, the Bible, despite what you might have been, the sort of occasional nice verse that you might have been read in Sunday school, the Bible is full of evil. And that is primarily the reason why we should not base our morality on it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's, I think a lot of our experiences with Christians and church have been very pleasant people saying very pleasant things and being very generally pleasant. And I think it's important to note that these people are probably generally nice people, and they don't usually follow the Bible. If they followed the Bible and did the things that God has asked them to do in the past and the same and followed that same moral structure as outlined in the Bible, then they wouldn't be as nice people as they are. And I think it's important to note that they're the unorthodox ones.
Mm. Well, yeah, and it's like the Bible's been used to justify things like slavery in the past, and you know, when we used to put witches on trial and dunk them in water or whatever it was we used to do them, burn them alive. These are all things that people thought it was a good idea to do because of the Bible. And, you know, most things in society that we now deem morally right, like not owning people as slaves, that doesn't come from the Bible. There's no commandment that says thou shalt not own another human being as property. In fact, it's every indication that people were viewed as property in that time, especially women. And it's just, you know, we've advanced from the Bible. And it's, I think it's quite a shame that people don't actually see that. Well, religious people don't see that.
Mm. Yeah, we considered God's slaves as well, which is which kind of shows that it was condoned. That the idea of owning somebody was considered a good thing. I mean, it's Christians often, or religious types, often are quite proud of the fact that their possessions of their God. In a way, I suppose, in a way that writes off a lot of their own responsibilities of what they do and what they've done,
Yeah.
of how they act, or if they're making mistakes, as they are God. There's God's property. It's not it's not so much there.
Well, yeah, and I think the very foundation of Christianity being Jesus died for our sins is a kind of doctrine of it's alright, someone else is there to take away your responsibility. Which, you know, Christopher Hitchens says you can take the punishment for someone, you could go to prison for them, you could even be executed for a crime that someone else did, but you cannot give them forgiveness and you cannot take away their responsibility. You know, you cannot say that they didn't do it, which is, you know, and that when you view it from that light, or in that light rather, the New Testament and Christianity as a whole is basically based upon immorality, about not having responsibility for your actions, and it's all going to be alright because you can be an asshole and Jesus will forgive you at the end of the day.
You don't have to apologise to the person that you're an asshole to. You only have to apologise in the privacy of your own home to God. You don't have to apologise to the person you did wrong to.
Mm. And also I think, talking about the negative impact that religious faith has on people's morals, is it also, it's just a dividing force, because if you're a Christian you view the world as people that are Christian and are non-Christians, who there's this sort of barrier and it makes you quite judgmental against those people. I mean, I suppose in a way that same kind of thing applies to atheists, because we view the world as religious people and atheists. But religious people are sort of, well, a classic example, going back to someone who comes out as an atheist in a fundamentalist Christian family, is often, you know, quite a difficult experience for that person. and the parents will be sort of judgmental about them and might force them to go to some sort of weird religious intervention, or it's kind of it creates an unnecessary division, whether it is between atheists and with the religious, or your religion and every other religion and atheists. It just creates divisions in society, which more often than not end up in conflict. Say in like Ireland, or Bosnia, places like that. Throughout history, it's been this sort of divide between Catholics and Protestants, or Christians and Muslims, and it just creates an awful lot of conflict in society.